My guest today needs no introduction. She has been listed on Forbes' most influential CMOs, and she's the CMO of Autodesk, Dara Treseder. I'm so excited for you to listen into this conversation on how she's really helping Autodesk create the design and make category. Enjoy the conversation. We are recording live here on the Bridging the Gap podcast from Autodesk University, and super excited to welcome my guest today. Dara, thanks so much for taking the time and coming out today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, this is really exciting. So, last year, Autodesk University went through this huge transformation of rebranding it to the Design and Make conference. Wonder if you could explain some of the reasoning and thought process that went behind that.
Absolutely. So first of all, let's start with defining, what is this design and make category, right? It's really bridging the gap between digital creation and production, right? Whether it is in the architecture and construction space, in the product design and manufacturing space, or in the media and entertainment space. And Autodesk is uniquely positioned to help deliver on that because of what we see across all these industries, right? We serve these industries, and these industries, to be clear, will soon be a $30 trillion in total, employing over 300 million people around the world. So this is not some little category over there. This is a pretty substantial category. And so we thought, hey, why don't we take a stake in the ground as one of the leading companies in this space to rebrand our annual conference as the Design and Make Conference? And it's been super well received. So it's one of those things that you try it. And with my team, we always like to talk about things that are one-way doors and two-way doors. And it's a two-way door. We were like, if we brand it and it doesn't quite stick, we can always change it. But it really it's stuck because for our customers, what it has done is it has identified the problem that they have bridging that divide, that gap. And then it's also showing how we as Autodesk are addressing that unmet need. So that's been a big thing for us. With our solutions, we're addressing that unmet need. Our CEO, Andrew Anagnost, this morning was talking about Autodesk AI and the transformation this is having across our industries. One example that he utilized was how you can now start to generate images in the media and entertainment space that you couldn't have done before using, Wonder Dynamics, a company we recently acquired. And I love that example because he said, not only can you use this in media and entertainment, but you can imagine if you are designing, a building or a city, you want to show how the humans would show up in the city, how they flow through that city. You can now utilize this technology that was originally created in media and entertainment, but can be utilized in architecture, construction, and engineering. And if you're designing a factory, and you're thinking about how will this factory actually work, you can also utilize that technology there. So I think that convergence of design and make, we're uniquely able to address that. And so rebranding has helped us identify the problem. It's helped us address this unmet need. And last but certainly not least, I am the CMO after all, so I got to talk about storytelling. I think it's allowed us to tell the story in new and novel ways. And one of the things that we've worked together, Great Tech and Autodesk, one of your customers, I believe, Performance Contracting Inc., in the creation of Sphere, right? Which is the largest spherical structure in the world. Last year, AU Design and Make Conference took place in Vegas, and we were able to welcome our customers from land and sky with a never been done before activation on Sphere, telling that story in a unique way of something that we're doing together with our customers. Yeah,
I love that. So with the Design and Make, I think one of the beauty of it is its simplicity. That it's like, of course, Autodesk Design and Make. So how has the storytelling been able to help create more awareness for the category and Autodesk in general?
Yeah, storytelling has been a powerful way to generate awareness, interest, and then I would say engagement around this category. And we've done it in a couple of ways. I think first of all is telling stories that connect with our customers, and not just our customers, but like our customers' family and friends, telling those stories that are human interest stories. So one of the stories that we've talked about a little bit is around Notre Dame. So our software has been used in the rebuilding of Notre Dame. Now, of course, this is a physical creation that was created hundreds of years ago when, digitization didn't really exist. But in this rebuilding effort, since the fire has happened, we've been able to use digital tools to not only honor the stories of the past, but be able to address a challenge of today, a present day challenge of how do you rebuild, something that is so historic, so significant, means so much to so many people. And you do it in a way that preserves that history and legacy while using the tools of the future. And so telling those types of stories have been really powerful for us. So it's about telling the design and make stories, but not just telling one story, but telling it again and again and again. So it's not just Notre Dame, but it's how we're rebuilding the coral reefs. It's how, our software has been used to make all of the Oscar-winning animated movies. It's finding these human interest stories that you can share with your mom or your grandma, and they can be like, oh, yes, that was interesting. What's funny, I love the Notre Dame story because my aunt, actually my husband's aunt, sent me a link to the article. She's like, did you see this? I'm like, I'm the CMO.
Yeah, I saw it.
Know that this happened. But it's like telling these stories that really connect with audiences across all different dimensions. Because at the end of the day, yes, we might be designers, we might be engineers, we might be marketers, but we're still just people. And we want to talk about things that matter.
So speaking of kind of human interest pieces and things that get people excited, I'm a former collegiate athlete, so sports are huge for me. And the Autodesk partnership with the LA 28 Olympic and Paralympic Games is super cool. I'd love to hear kind of some of the genesis of how that partnership come about. What gets you excited about that partnership as well?
So one of the things I love about Autodesk is we don't insert ourselves into any conversation until we've earned the right to be in that conversation. So we are the official design and make platform of the LA 28 Olympic and Paralympic Games and Team USA.
Yeah.
So we are the official design and make platform, but we were actually involved in the Paris Olympic Games. So our software was used in the creation of the Olympic village that the athletes use. And this is so significant because normally those Olympic villages for the athletes, they get built and then they get destroyed. So what waste? However, this is the first time that this structure was not just built to serve the needs of the Olympic Games, but it's actually going to serve the needs of Paris. It is helping us leave the city better than we found it, providing affordable housing and other use cases. So our software played a role in that. So we've actually earned the right to be in this conversation. And it makes so much sense for us as a brand, as a business, to be involved with LA 28, because this LA 28 will be the most sustainable games that has ever happened before. And this will be the first time there will be no new permanent venues. Okay. So these games are going to be brought to life by retrofitting more than 40 facilities across the Los Angeles metro area. So our software is actually fundamental to the building of the games. And if you were in the general session, you will have heard, the chairperson of LA 28, Casey Wasserman, talk about how to make these games happen, our technology is fundamental to that. So that is, for us, these brand partnerships aren't just about telling interesting stories. We love to tell interesting stories, but it's more about where we've earned the credibility to be in those conversations and where our software is fundamental and essential to bringing those stories to life.
Yeah, I thought the general session, the stat that stood out to me was the $6 billion that's going to be spent in 18 months leading up to it. That's mind-boggling to really think about that.
It's mind-boggling, right? Think about how much construction that makes LA 28 one of the leading construction players, right? Not just in the US, but around the world. And the fact that our software will help bring this, like Autodesk Construction Cloud, to be clear, is going to be utilized in this by our customers in helping bring these games to life. So the business case kind of writes itself. It's one of those great business cases that it's like, wow, so a lot of billions are going into this production.
Right.
Our software is going to be used here. we should be a partner in bringing this to life. So it makes so much sense for us as a business and a brand. And I think it really creates that platform that our customers and partners now have not only permission, but excitement and engagement to be a part of this story.
Yeah. So one of the other kind of story elements that Autodesk has been doing, especially over the last 2 years, is with the launch of the State of Design and Make report. I wonder if you can share some of the insights that are coming out of that report that kind of stand out to you that leaders should step up and take notice of.
Absolutely. So we're really excited about our State of Design and Make report. And yes, we're going to be releasing another one next year because y'all love it so much and it's chock full of insights. But this year, some of the insights that stood out from the 2024 report, which you should totally go and download on autodesk.com if you haven't already. But one of the things that really stood out is that the skills gap is real. There is a real gap. I think about 38% of businesses are saying, we don't have the resources to bring our new hires up to skill. And so we at Autodesk have actually taken this upon ourselves because we, again, talking about identifying a need, addressing the unmet need. One of the things we do is we make our software available for free to students and educators all around the world. We have over 100 million students and educators utilizing our software globally. And so by making sure that the next generation understands how to use technology to design and make anything is a critical part of the work that we're doing. But that skills gap is a real issue. And also, today, a lot of the next generation, like, hey, YouTube star, they want to do that. TikTok superstar, they want to do that. Architect, we kind of got to have them understand why it's important, why it's cool to be an architect, why it's cool to be an engineer, why it's cool to be a designer. So that work that we're doing, that advocacy is really important. The second thing that really stood out for us is actually that many of our customers are already starting to utilize AI in their workflows in some shape or form. So Andrew talked a little bit about the hope that people have with AI. It is real. That hope and optimism is real. And we're seeing our professionals starting to really utilize that. So for us, that's a validation of the investments we're making to improve productivity, to improve, provide these transformative ways to help our customers. So that's another key thing that stood out. Because sometimes when you read the news, you're like, is everybody afraid of AI? No, there's actually more hope than there is fear around AI and the power of AI. And AI is here to stay. It's just like someone saying, I don't like the internet. You know what? There's bad things on the internet, but there's good things on the internet. And the internet is here to stay. The same thing with AI. And then, I think the third thing that was actually really interesting to me is that sustainability is table stakes. So whether you're in the media and entertainment industry, you're in product design and manufacturing, or you're in architecture, construction, and engineering, sustainability matters. And almost at 97% of the thousands of people we interviewed across industries across the world said, hey, sustainability is a part of our business. It's a part of how we show up for our customers. It matters to our customers. And so that's another thing that sometimes it feels like, is sustainability still something that matters? The answer is yes.
Yeah, I love those three takeaways. So starting with that first one, that's a soapbox issue of mine is how do you make construction seem cool again and bring people into...
Oh, it's so cool. Construction is so cool.
I agree. I feel like there's a marketing problem in the construction industry that we don't do a great job marketing just the technology and the AI that's happening here, the VR. There's so many cool things that are happening in this space. And we have to do a better job of telling the story. And so I appreciate Autodesk going out and doing all the human interest stories. I think that the more Autodesk goes out and is a player like in the Olympics and showing all the amazing things that are happening, I think that helps really create that story of making construction cool again. So,
yeah, thank you. I agree. And that's why we're really committed to doing that work.
Yeah, awesome. So on the AI, obviously, Andrew talked a lot about it during the keynote today. Where is Autodesk really seeing AI moving in the future?
So, AI is here to stay. And I think we're focused on making sure AI is adding value to our customers. So that for us is the North Star, value to our customers. That's how we think about it. I actually have the privilege of sitting on our AI executive leadership team at Autodesk. So really having a front row seat to how we're putting value at the center of how AI comes to bear comes to market for our customers. There are three things our Autodesk AI is focused on. First of all, it's focused on automating those repetitive tasks. There are things that are value added and there are things that are not value added. And the more we can automate those repetitive tasks, so our designers, our engineers, our visual effects artists, our construction folks can focus on the strategic and the creative aspects of their job, the better. So automating those repetitive tasks, those menial tasks are one of the things that we're focused on. The second thing is really around analysis, right? It doesn't matter how much data you have if you're not actually analyzing that data to do anything. I like to talk about data swamps. There are data swamps all over. You know, it's just piles of data just sitting there stinking things up. No one's doing anything with it. You know, what really matters is being able to kind of organize that data and utilize the data to make better business decisions for yourself, for your customers, for the world. So that analysis is a huge part of what Autodesk AI does. And then the third thing for us is we really believe in enablement, not replacement. So our AI is to augment the work that our designers, our engineers, and so on are doing. You know, one of the things our Chief Technology Officer, Raji, says that I love is we shouldn't be worried about AI taking our jobs. We should be worried about people using AI. Like, it's not about AI, it's about you actually getting up to skill. Imagine if you're someone who was like, you know, I'm not going to learn email. I'm going to keep sending those letters. You know, my CEO needs something and I'm going to send him a letter. You're not going to be able to function in today's world. I think it's the same thing. We have got to make sure that we are upskilling ourselves. We're getting up to speed, and AI is here to augment what we do. So I think we're playing a role in those three spaces, and we're operating across two spheres, right? One is around productivity. This is real, making things more efficient, making things more effective. The second dimension is really in a more disruptive and transformative way, like what we're doing with Project Bernini, which if you haven't checked out Project Bernini, Google it. It's amazing. Check it out. It allows you to use natural language and 2D images to generate 3D objects. It's like really cool. Every time my 6-year-old is like having nothing to do, I'm like, let's go look at Project Bernini. And he's like, amazing. It's just really cool to use natural language and 2D objects and start to create 3D objects, even, you know, for that. And I think this is going to be, even though we're still very much in the experimental stage, this is a real technology that we're investing in that we're soon going to be able to bring to our customers.
I was super excited. I just wanted him to keep showing the example of the chair morphing out during the keynote. That was really
so
cool seeing Bernini. Yeah. I think with AI too, it's one of those things that it seems scary until you start using it, and then once you start using it and you figure it out, you're like, never take that AI away from me. I'm going to use this forever. It's my best friend.
Forever and ever.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of misconceptions do you think are still around AI that we need to kind of knock down?
I think the first thing is that replacement theory. I think that there's a real fear that AI is going to replace. So instead of folks figuring out, actually, how do I learn how to utilize AI? How do I get my workforce trained on how to utilize AI? How do I build this into my workflows? That fear is holding us back. And I think there's a line. Above the line is trust. Below the line is fear. You know, we are our better selves, and we actually show up better in the workplace, and we show up better for our customers when we operate from a place of trust. So I think that's number one. That fear around AI replacing us is real. The second thing is, I think people let perfect be the enemy of the good. AI isn't there yet. We all saw that AI generated picture of Andrew Anagnost. It was not Andrew Anagnost. And it's not perfect yet, and that's okay. You know, we're still very much in the early stage. Remember when the internet was links? Anybody remember that? Okay, I see some folks like nodding, you know, in the audience here. That was a time. Remember when it was like, here are the top pages to go on the internet, to go look at it. Okay, we are in that era. Okay, we are in the AOL era of AI, but it will get better. And the sooner you get on board, the more you're going to learn and you're going to understand. And so as things evolve, you will be able to evolve. So I think that's the other misperception, is because it's not perfect. It's not great. No, it's good. And let's get in right now, early on the train. Like, it's like a rocket. When a rocket ship is going, you don't ask what seat, you get in and you strap in, you know? So I think that's the other misperception. And I would say the third misperception, you know, around AI is that it's all bad or it's all good. The answer is it's both good and bad. And so one of the things I actually love that our CEO, Andrew, talks a lot about is the importance for regulation around AI. You know, I had the privilege actually last year to spend some time with other women in technology and the White House talking about AI and talking about how we should be thinking about regulation. I do think that this is like anything. You don't want to be irresponsible with it. I actually think we need to be more worried about humans with AI than AI itself. And we just need to make sure we understand this is not all good. It's not all bad. It's like anything, it's neutral, and it's what we do with it. So let's make sure we put in the guardrails to protect humanity. We put in the guardrails to be ethical. We put in the guardrails to make sure there's transparency, but there's so much goodness to come out of it.
So on that point, I loved the nutrition label that you guys are putting around AI. It's like, that's a brilliant idea. So yeah, props there. So we're in the Great Tech booth. Our tagline here is modeling the future. Very similar to making the future. What does modeling the future, what does that bring up in your mind?
So when I think about modeling the future, I think about, you know, inspiring what can be and what is possible. I think sometimes we limit ourselves. We have limiting beliefs about what we can do, even what we can do with technology. And so I always love seeing that Great Tech line, because to me, it inspires me to think about what could be instead of just accepting things as they are. But we can reimagine what those things could be to design and make a better world for all of us.
I like it. So one of my favorite topics is all around innovation. What does innovation mean to you? How would you define that word?
You know, innovation is one of those words that just gets used and used and used and used. But what innovation means to me is making things better. And it's about finding new and interesting ways to make things better. So to me, innovating is just about making things better.
Yeah. Well, where would you point people if they want to know more about the category of design and make? Where would you point them to get more information?
Well, I would certainly point them to Autodesk.com, our website, where we have a lot of great information. And a great way to get started is to download a copy of the State of Design and Make a copy of the Design and Make report. It makes for a riveting read, whether you're on a plane, on a train, on an automobile, not of course driving, but in a passenger seat. It's a really great read. And if you want to put your kids to bed and you are looking for a new book to read, I also highly recommend the State of Design and Make report. They'll be asleep like that, and you'll learn a lot too.
Well, final question for you, Dara. If I could give you all construction power, you could snap your fingers and innovate one thing in the industry, what would you pick to innovate?
You know, I actually think that what we're doing with Autodesk Assistant, I'm really excited about it. And it would just make it happen faster, right? We talked about how Autodesk Assistant is basically now your virtual assistant in the AEC space. I want to bring that to all our industries and be able to do it faster for more advanced problems. Just like that's probably the thing that I would do. And we're working on it, but you know,
I like it.
If we could make it
faster,
faster.
Speed it up. I like it. Well, Dara, thanks so much for taking the time, and thank you everybody here in the audience. This has been great. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.